Hi there, today I'm looking at this. It's the Comica V30 Pro shotgun mic, and this sort of sits alongside things like the Rode Videomic Pro. It's designed for vloggers and people who want a microphone that is super simple to just put on top of their camera, plug in with a 3.5mm plug like this, you know, common on cameras now to have a mic input like that, and get better audio than they would from their on-camera mic. So I don't want to spend too long looking at this because it really is a fairly simple product, but I'll take you around the product and I'll show you what I like and what I don't like about it. And I think first of all, most importantly, we're going to test this and show you what the audio sounds like, because that's kind of most important really, isn't it? Okay, so I can, well, I mean, you probably can't see it too much from here, but I can guarantee you that it is pretty windy here today. And this is a audio test using the CVM V30 Pro microphone. This is without the deadcat on at the moment. In fact, it's starting to rain. I would like to go for a walk with a microphone, but I've got a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old inside, and that's just not going to be possible at the moment. So hopefully this will do the job out here. You can hear how it sounds and how well it works. You'll also probably be able to hear this umbrella that's next to me too. What I want to do now is fit the deadcat onto it and see whether it makes a difference. I don't have the high pass filter enabled at the moment, so I might just do that now. Oh, that's blown away. This is working really well, isn't it? Wow, that's really picked up. So there we go. I've just enabled the high pass filter on the microphone, and see whether or not that cuts out some of the background rumble. And now let's see how much further we can get the wind noise down using the deadcat. All right, there we go. I've managed to get it fitted, and well, I don't know how well it's going to work. This is first of all without the high pass filter enabled. Yeah, good. I was just waiting for a little bit of wind to pick up there. So it's pretty windy out here, and I'm just going to enable that now, and that is with the high pass filter enabled. So yeah, whether or not there's a difference, I can't tell exactly, because I can't sort of hear what the original was like and exactly how much wind there was at the time, but hopefully this gives you an idea, firstly, of the audio quality of the microphone, and secondly, how well the deadcat and wind protection work on the microphone, because of course this mic has the deadcat over the foam, so you not only have the foam protection, you also then have the material of the deadcat and then the actual kind of fur of the deadcat itself. So that's the V30 Pro microphone from Comica, and back to the rest of the review. Well, what do you think? I mean, I've listened to this microphone before. I haven't listened to that particular test that I've just done, but I've listened to this microphone before, and I think this sounds it's perfectly suitable. It's not going to win awards for microphone quality, but it is absolutely suitable for the price. This retails at £60, and this probably sounds comparable to any of the Rode Videomics. The Rode Videomics, compared to something like the mic that I'm using on this camera right now, are a little bit kind of thin. They don't sound quite as sort of full-bodied and rich, so to speak. I don't want to get into too many kind of silly audio terms here, but it sounds decent. It's clear, it's crisp, it conveys the message. Its off-axis rejection is good, which means that, you know, stuff behind you isn't going to come across as loud. Your voice is going to be the main thing on the footage, and you know, they're the sort of things that count, and it totally competes and is perfectly suitable. I'm quite happy with the audio of this mic. Okay, let's have a look around the mic itself. I'm going to start with the power on the mic. So here's the power part of it. This is the battery door here, and it opens up, fortunately, to a pair of AAA batteries. I've put some energizers in there. These are really lightweight, so these help with the weight of the mic even more. And fortunately, it doesn't have that 9-volt cell in there. These things, apparently, batteries will last 200 hours. I'm not sure if that was for alkaline or what type of batteries that was for, but who cares? I mean, 200 hours, what a mass. It's just a huge amount of time. No problem to get hold of, cheap to buy, really easy. Nice power solution. On the back here, we have our two main controls, nothing complicated. There's a power on off. It's actually a three-way switch. So first position here turns it on and provides a 10 dB boost to the output. That is your standard thing on these type of microphones. It's a big selling point of these sort of microphones. And the reason they do that, they provide a hotter, so a louder output to this, which means that you can lower the microphone level on your camera. And the reason you need to do that is because cameras produce good images, they're notoriously bad at audio. Unless you're using an expensive camera, the audio inputs on it and the preamps used are not going to be high quality. So they produce a lot of noise. If you can lower the level, if you can put a hotter level into it, a louder level into it, and lower the level, you can reduce that noise and improve your signal to noise ratio. So that's the purpose of these boosts on the microphones of this type. If it's too loud for your input, just put it to the fully on position and that will provide you with a normal level out. And then the only other switch on this is your high pass filter or low cut filter, which I would imagine, it doesn't state it, but I would imagine will be around about 80 Hertz. And that can be essential to have that on the mic, because sometimes if you're using this out and about, the rumble from the wind can be quite destructive to recordings. It can produce really massive peaks on your recording, and that can kind of throw things off enormously. So having a filter on there cuts all those really low frequency rumbles out, and doesn't have a huge impact, on the vocal, because although there is some vocal content that's down below 80 Hertz, it's going to sound perfectly fine with that filter engaged. So if you're using it outside, I would certainly always recommend having that enabled. Apart from that, that's about it, really, on the microphone. It comes with a cable, which is unfortunately attached to the microphone. I would have liked to have seen this as a removable cable. So if you look on the Rode Videomic Pro here, this cable, well, this one isn't the one that came with the mic, but that's kind of the point. So this is a screw connector, and it is a removable cable. This one is attached to the mic. And yeah, this is fine, but with a bit of moving around and stuff, I could see that could fail over time. And well, what do you do then? I don't think you can do anything, can you? There's no way of replacing that. You've got a dead microphone then. So shame that that's not a socket rather than just a cable outputted. The cable is thin, it's coiled and it's thin, but thin is good because it means it doesn't interfere with other stuff. So if you've got like an HDMI cable coming out and this happens to go over it or whatever, it'll just move out of the way for it because it's very thin. It doesn't, thick cables can like push stuff out of the way and bend connectors and bend, this won't do that. It'll just go where you want it to go. And it goes to a standard 3.5mm plug. Standard stuff. All right, let's look a bit further around, and the shock mount on the mic is a nice design. I haven't seen one like this before. It looks like it doesn't clear the microphone enough. If we look from there, look how little space there is there. But if we move that around, it's absolutely fine, and I can shake this about, and the shock mount on this works as well as any other shock mount I've tested on a mic of this type. The Rode shock mount, is one of these type, and this works just as well. This works just as well as that. They're not perfect, but they do as good a job as you need them to. The connector on the bottom is a hot shoe style, as you would expect, and it does have a tripod sort of thread in there as well, which is very useful, and I'll get onto why that's very useful in a moment, or very useful particularly for me. This is a plastic. This is all plastic, which reduces the weight, but it does make it a little bit fragile. And I've seen a few people online saying that this is really fragile and should be stronger. I don't really think that's a problem. This microphone, one of its big plus points is the weight. This comes in at a mere 131 grams. It weighs nothing. So there's no leverage on there at all. It doesn't, this doesn't need to be particularly tough. As long as you don't over tighten it, I don't think you'll have any problems with this at all. If I hold the Rode Videomic and hold this is so much lighter. It's really, it's really nice, because if you're using like a small camera like an A6600, then yeah, you just want to add something as lightweight as possible to the top to keep your kit weight down. That, I think, is going to be important to a lot of people. Right. Okay, so it comes as standard with this foam attached. I don't think you can remove this. You may be able to. Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah. So there we go. You can pull the foam off if you want. But it also, and this is a big plus, because a Rode Videomic comes in at 120 quid, but you would also need to buy a deadcat. This comes with a deadcat. And not only that, it comes with a custom deadcat. So this isn't just a third-party thing. This is a Comica deadcat designed specifically for this microphone. Now, you getting it on is a little bit of a squeeze, I'm not going to lie, but it's good that way because it means it's tight. And I'm going to put this on, in fact, I'm going to quickly mount this to my camera. I would use this microphone on my old AX53. Now, this is an old style camcorder design, which not that many people use anymore. More, I think, because it's not in fashion, is it? I think that's probably the reason more above anything else. Yeah, maybe if you want to take stills as well. Anyway, I won't get into that discussion on this video. So I can just attach this pretty simply to the top, he says, not being able to do it. Oh, undo it, that would help. And there we go. And there we have it. Nice, simple solution. Plugs in the side there. Job done. Right, now let me put the wind filter on, the deadcat on. Now, I'm going to do this while recording, but I'll speed this up because it will take me a minute. All right, there we go. You've still got your controls clearly accessible from the back. Cable comes around the side here, and hot shoe is accessible nice and easily from the bottom too. But you've got a microphone now that's still really light, but it has your deadcat on it. Now, here's the problem as far as I'm concerned. This microphone doesn't have enough clearance from the camera. This isn't going to affect everybody, and it wouldn't affect me if I was using it on my Z90 or using it on my 5D. And I can imagine it wouldn't affect you if you're using it on like a Sony Alpha 7 III or something. But if you're using it on something a bit smaller like the 6600 or indeed a camcorder sort of solution like this, well, that's no good because this fur comes down and is completely blocking the lens. If I turn this on now, I haven't got a battery in it actually, but if I turn this on now, you would see that this is completely, you just got a load of fur coming into the shot. In that case, that's where the tripod screw is essential. So I've kind of just grabbed a, well, in this case, it's a Manfrotto 492 LCD here, though this adds a lot of weight. You could probably do something a bit lighter than this. And I can fit this to the top of the camera. And now, if I undo this, I can screw this to the bottom because it has that tripod screw. Screw this to the bottom. Sorry, I realise this shot is not me. You're not really seeing much here. And that's all tightened up. And then tighten this up like that. And there we go. We now have enough clearance here. But I've had to raise it by quite a bit. And I think that's something to be aware of. If you're looking at this mic, just make sure it is going to clear your camera, because otherwise you're going to need something like this. And I think most people, these aren't hard to get hold of. You can get these super cheap on Amazon. You don't have to use a Manfrotto thing like this. But you probably have to use something like this. It's just another thing to have in your bag. So yeah, something to be aware of there. So let me just pop the wind filter off again. Ugh. And it sheds a lot of bits everywhere. I think they normally do. I can imagine that. Look, it's literally like a dead cat. It's still shedding its fur though, unfortunately. And I will show you what I want to show you. So here we go. If I compare this to the Rode and I line up the hot shoe mounts, look how much higher the microphone sits on the Rode, and that's a good thing because it means that it has that extra bit of clearance. Maybe not quite enough. Maybe you might still have a bit of an issue, but this is a lot more sleek and a lot more kind of straight down to your at the level of your camera. and that could cause a problem. Anyway, that's about all there is to say about this microphone. It is a decent microphone at a really decent price. If you're looking at something that where weight's going to be important, portability is going to be important, and you want to get the deadcat with it, and you're on a budget, this is a really good place to start. It's the Comica V30, and yeah, I'm quite happy with it.